I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat?
Do you guys see where my hands are? That's right, they're down. Now, the Democratic Party got together for their Democratic National Committee elections, and you can guarantee they have not learned their lesson about why they lost this last presidential election. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, the Democratic National Committee gathered together to elect their leadership, including chair and vice chair. And you can imagine what it's like to have a bunch of leftists just stuck together in one room. And if you can't, I'll tell you about it because I used to be one and I used to be in rooms just like this. And with the clips that are circulating online, it went about just as I would expect it to. There was, of course, talk of Donald Trump and losing this last election, of diversity, equity, inclusion, racism, feminism, ableism, and there was even singing. Let's watch clip number 1.
And we'll begin with the opening statements. Each candidate will have 30 seconds, and we'll start with Dr. Quintessa Hathaway.
Good evening, everyone. It is my desire to be the next DNC chair, and I just want to give you all a little bit of something that's been on my heart here over the last couple of days. You fight on, you fight on. You fight on, you fight on. When your government is doing you wrong, you fight on, oh, you fight on.
Okay, Quintessa. Time for a nap. What is going on? You are not Cynthia Erivo. You need to sit down and speak to people and explain why you should be the chair. If that is your opening statement, I can guarantee you are not winning the race, even though people are going to applaud you because they feel as though they have to, because that's what we have to do for black women in America these days. I don't think you're winning the race. And guess what? Update, Quintessa did not win DNC chair. It in fact went to a gentleman by the name of Ken Martin. So we will no longer be subjected to that singing. So that's good. But she did have other statements about systemic racism and being black in America. Let's watch.
Racism has not gone away since 20 people of African descent came upon these shores at Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. And it's going to require us to think and behave in a new way. It is systemic, it is structural. When it comes to addressing diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and belonging, that is for all people of the United States. That must come across the voting line as well. This is everyone's America. Our story has a new form of glory that must come to our shores as well.
Y'all, I just heard a whole bunch of nothing. A whole bunch of nothing. And you know what it guarantees? They did not learn their lesson. Identity politics is the reason that the Democrats lost this 2024 election. In fact, there are many other reasons, but it's a large piece of the pie here. And what do they go straight back to the minute they're together in a room together to decide who leads them? Racism, misogyny, oppression, identity politics, over and over and over again. It's endless. And it's a playbook that they lean on that is not really going well for them. So maybe we need to switch up the pages a little bit. But the pages will never change because it seems as though Democrats do not have a clear view or clear reasoning as to why they lost this last election. When asked if they feel like racism and misogyny was a primary contributor to their loss, this is how they responded.
In this round, so I'm going to, I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay. So that's good. You all passed.
You all passed what? The test for who's gonna keep losing elections 4 years after 4 years after 4 years? If so, yes, you most definitely passed. Do you know why people voted for Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris? It's not because he's a white man and she is whatever race she wants to utilize on any given day, and because she's a woman. It's because they want a secure border. It's because they want their children's education to be taken seriously. It's because they want their tax dollars to be taken seriously. It's because they want to fight the drug crisis that's happening in America right now. They want Americans to be healthier. They want want America to be taken seriously on the world stage. And they didn't think that Kamala Harris was capable of achieving any of those things. In fact, Kamala Harris sat in power as a vice president for what, 4 years? And what did she do? Just about nothing. And if you look at the people who voted for Donald Trump, you're not just going to see white Americans, you're going to see people of all different colors. In fact, he got one of the most diverse voting bases of a Republican in decades. So if you think that racism and misogyny is the primary driver in Donald Trump winning this last election, you need to recalibrate and get back to us on that. And we wouldn't be in a room full of leftists if we didn't talk about gender. Of course, it's going to get a little confusing for them because they're going to have candidates that are not only male and female, but non-binary, gender queer, gender fluid, all of these different identities. How are they handling it? Let's see.
The rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. So again, this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect.
Point of privilege. What do we do if the candidate is a Therian who identifies as a 4-legged wolf? I imagine that's how these things go. Fill me in if it's not.
1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. To ensure our process accounts for male, female, and non-binary candidates, we conferred with our RBC co-chair, our LGBT caucus co-chair, and others to ensure that the process is inclusive and meets the gender balance requirements in our rules. To do this, our process will be slightly different than the one outlined to you earlier this week, but I hope you will see that in practice it is simple and transparent. The order of balloting is designed to ensure equal access to the ballot, regardless of gender identity. As we must elect a candidate of any gender as well as 1 male and 1 female vice chair, we will first ask members to elect a candidate of any gender on the first ballot. Any candidate, male, female, and non-binary, can be elected on that ballot. After a candidate is elected on the first ballot, we'll have 1 officer of the 3, so then we will know which position is filled of the 1 male, 1 female, and 1 vice chair of any gender.
Y'all just need to keep coming up with new genders, guys. You're going to spend half your time on bookkeeping and then the other half on whatever it is you guys are trying to get done. Because I don't know how this is going to continue to work for you if we continue on the gender track that we're on right now, because non-binary is not going to be the end of it. As you can see with those little pronouns on the screen, we got zim, zay, zers. I don't know, guys, but it seems rough out there. And we've seen how these meetings go. In fact, I've been in leftist meetings before where somebody says the wrong pronouns and all of a sudden everything's taken off the tracks and we have to address this point of privilege or this oppression point and then move on.
Quick point of privilege, quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade.
And I think it's going to be the very same thing that happens behind the scenes in some of the clerical work that is required to run committees like this. And this is a prime example of this sort of ideology. You know, if not setting us back regressively and culturally, setting you back at least a few minutes in trying to figure things out. And if it's not random singing or confusion about non-binary candidates, there is the I am speaking form of leftist that is popping up all over the place after Kamala Harris and people like Jasmine Crockett made their way into Washington.
Hey, I am speaking, and I would love your attention. There is a black woman at this podium, and I deserve your attention like the 11 people who went before me. Yes, I am speaking.
I don't even know what to say, guys. I don't even know what to say. You know, maybe I'm getting very biased clippage. Is that even a word? I don't know. From this DNC meeting and I'm just seeing the very worst of it. But if this is what's happening behind the scenes from y'all need to do a little workshop on getting things right, on making less stuff like this take place. But it's because you've been infiltrated with identity politics and it's at the very center of everything you do that you're having conversations like this. Everything is going to be diverted down the lane of talking about identity politics and random singing and saying I'm a black woman and I need to be listened to because you've placed your priorities in the wrong areas when it comes to the issues that you guys are focusing on. And when everybody feels marginalized all in one space, all in one time for all different reasons, then we mix in a little bit of intersectionality where people are trying to play their different points of privilege or disadvantage against one another. Everybody deserves the mic. Everybody deserves to have their story heard. Everyone deserves to be listened to and to say, I am speaking and I'm a black woman on this stage. And you can just take the black out of that sentence and trade it out for any marginalized identity and suddenly everybody deserves the floor. Speaking of deserving to be heard and deserving the floor, they literally talk about who deserves the floor in a land acknowledgement before they proceed into actually discussing the topics of their meeting.
Welcome. The Democratic National Committee wishes to acknowledge that we gather together to state our values on lands that have been stewarded through many centuries by the ancestors and the descendants of tribal nations who have been here since time immemorial. We honor the communities native to this continent and recognize that our country was built on indigenous lands and hope.
I gotta ask, what does this accomplish? Literally, what does this achieve to acknowledge the land that you're standing on and who walked on it before you did? In my eyes, literally nothing. But this is what the DNC and the Democratic Party does. They play into these identity politics and these marginalized identities, and then they subsequently do nothing for those individuals. I gotta tell you guys, these baseless acknowledgements or calls to oppression or systemic problems achieve absolutely nothing. And instead of doing all these random acknowledgements and wasting the time of everybody that's coming together for this meeting, why don't you just get actual work done for the people that you're claiming to acknowledge? And we'll see if they do get any actual work done. Of course, I've already acknowledged that they've chosen their chair, but they've also chosen their vice chair, which is going to be David Hogg. You'll remember David Hogg from the Parkland shooting. He was running around doing press hit after press hit after press hit after that tragedy took place. And now he finds himself as the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. Let's watch a little bit of what he had to say.
Are you ready to go on the offense? Are you ready to go on the offense? We have to win back our young people. I am the only candidate in this race for any of these positions that is under 30. We had a 20-point shift to the right of our young people. We must show our young people we give a damn about them, that we support them, and we invest in them. I have raised over $11 million in the past year to support the future of our party, because I don't just tweet, I don't just talk the talk, I also walk the walk and I knock the knock in doors across the country, but I'm counting on you in this moment right now. I need your support. Please vote for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I know the left is on this whole thing of like, who is the Joe Rogan of the left? I can guarantee you it is not David Hogg. And men out there who are, maybe fence sitting on your political positions at the moment or considering leftism, I don't just tweet. I don't just talk the talk. I also walk the talk and I knock the knock. Does that influence you? Are you motivated? Are you gonna get out there and knock the knock for the left, boys? I don't think so, man. I don't know. And I know that David Hogg is like the guy on the left these days. He's pretty much had his political future sealed for him ever since what happened at Parkland, which however you feel about it is how you feel about it. Let me know in the comments down below. But I'm not at all surprised by this move. Do I feel as though he's going to motivate young people and show them that the left truly cares about them and men specifically, which is what the DNC needs right now? Absolutely not. But, I'm willing to watch as he gives it his best knock on the door. If David Hogg knocks on my door, I don't even know that I'd be bothered to answer. Not even for the content. Guys, I hate to say it, but his speech is giving Tim Walz Jr., and I do not mean that as a compliment.
We aren't going back.
But I don't seriously know if the Democratic National Committee can muster up the masculinity in a man that it would require to have men move to the left. This is a genuine question that I have. And if you can think of somebody, let me know who that would be down below. Everybody always says Hassan Piker. Does that work for you guys? You guys let me know who's capable of being the Joe Rogan of the left. I'll wait. Won't hold my breath though. And those, my friends, were my most favorite moments from the Democratic National Committee election. You guys let me know how you feel about them in the comments down below. Again, I don't know how much these individuals are going to achieve with the leadership that they've chosen and the way in which they went about it, because these clips were wild. And maybe there's some equivalent things happening at the RNC, although I highly doubt it. The craziest thing we saw was what, Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt at their convention. That was insane. Maybe we'll have to revisit this as as they go their own way on that. But my goodness, do I know exactly why the Democrats lost this last election, and they're sticking to that agenda leading up to the next one. So I think it's going to be a good day for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And if you disagree with anything said in this video, do get out in the comments down below, but just respectfully, we encourage healthy debate on this channel. With that, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, you better.